Alright guys, in today's video we're going to be checking out the Neabot Q11. So this is a smart robot vacuum that also has a mop built in. So this is the box that it comes in. So on one of the sides we have a picture of the vacuum itself. Looks really nice. Has a 4000 PA suction, 2.5 liter emptying dustbin, advanced beam LiDAR, and anti-drop design. So we have the sides, the other side, and the back, which has all of our specifications in different languages. And here we have the English specs. So you guys can see here the size, the weight, which is about 8 kilograms, about 17-18 pounds, and everything that's included. Now we do have these two handles to carry it. Alright, let's go ahead and open it up. And this is what we see. So it looks like this is a cover. Yep. Okay, so on the back of it, we got a little quick start. And that's really cool, and we're going to go step by step and set it up. So right on top we have the power cord. And you guys can see it's very well packed in this kind of shaped cardboard. I'm going to pull this out. And here we can see the vacuum. So let's go ahead and pull out the pieces. So we have a smaller box here with more things inside. And we'll open that in a second. We got the robot vacuum itself. And it's got a pretty good weight to it. And here we have the home dock / charger and the emptying bin. And it is quite large. And also the shape of it is really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and unwrap it. And wow, this thing is just something else. It looks really interesting. It's got like this really rounded off, eggy look. Very futuristic. So on the inside here, it looks like we got more parts. So this looks like the filter for the automatic emptying dustbin. Got some foam in there. And you guys can see on the inside, it looks quite interesting. And this is where it connects to and charges and also empties itself out. So we got a really cool logo here. It says Neabot. It also looks like a light. Going to the top, got a button that says open. Okay, so I don't think this is a button. I think it's just pointing up here that you can open this lid. So turning it around, this is what the back looks like. Pretty nice eggy design here on the back. And we got the manufacturing label there. And you guys can see there, it's rated for 1000 watts. And the reason for that is because it does have a motor inside that sucks out, kind of like a regular vacuum from the robot itself. So here we have a picture that shows us on and off, and the switch is under there. And also our plug for the mains wire. And if we flip it over, we can see we got nice rubber feet on the bottom. There's also actually some kind of metal plate here. Also, we have some kind of see-through pipe routing here that looks like maybe comes apart because there's some kind of little grab handle here. And on the very bottom, we got another large rubber foot. And also on one of the sides, we do have some, it looks to be like exhaust venting. All right, so now that we looked at the docking station, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the robot vacuum itself. Alright, so this is what it looks like underneath. So we got one wheel here on the front that swivels. We have one brush on the side, which when flipped around is on the right side. The manufacturing label, which shows us here that it charges on a 24 volt 1 amp power supply, which is about 47 watts, and the working voltage is 14.4 volts. So on the main drive wheels, we got really large notchy rubber feet, or wheels should I say, and they do go up and down. And they're the same kind on both sides. Here we have the brush roll, and there's two little release tabs here that if we click them, pull it out, and you guys can see what the roll looks like. So it does have some flaps on it, like rubber flaps, and then also some brushes. And the brushes are pretty soft. On the inside here, we can see where the intake is, where it sucks it up. And yeah, it's nice that we can take the brush off and clean it if we need to. And it does line up in there, so you can service it, which is nice. Going to the very back, we can see we have a tank here. And this tank looks like it's kind of a multi-purpose kind of thing. So we got a little diagram on the top, and we can see that it is multifunctional. So this is the dustbin part of it, and then this is the mop part of it. So the mop, you add water in here for mopping, and here we have the instructions for the dustbin. And then you got a filter underneath that pops off, which is like a screen mesh, and then more filtration system with a more finer filter. And all this does come out pretty easy, which you can, clean it out and then put it back in, or replace it obviously. So yeah, we can see that the dustbin itself is quite multi-purpose because it even has the charger connections here on the front. And also we do get this nice little brush with the cutter for cutting the hairs off of the roll here, and the brush is for brushing off the filter. So, and it has a special place just for this brush. So yeah, pretty cool and quite interesting for sure. So this hole on the bottom is for the exhaust when it cleans itself out into the dustbin, and then the other side here has the input port that comes from the vacuum there underneath. So yeah, it literally goes from here out of here into this hole and then into the collection bin here. So yeah, we have a sensor here, more sensors there. So the vacuum is definitely quite sophisticated. Put this back in. Let's go ahead and flip it around and take a look at the sides and the top. So the top of the vacuum is very clean, and we got this kind of like a shiny, glossy white finish. We do have our main controls here. Looks like what to be a light maybe here underneath. It says Neabot, and then we got a charge button and a power button. So yeah, pretty simple and looks really clean, and there's no LiDAR spinning around on the top, so the profile is quite thin. So looking at the front of it here, you guys can see it's quite shiny gloss black. There's all kinds of sensors in there like LiDAR, radar, and whatnot else that's in there that, you know, navigates this thing around the house. And if you guys know anything about LiDAR, it actually builds a map of its cleaning area. That way it knows exactly where it's at and how to most efficiently clean the area. So yeah, a lot of sensors in the front. And as we go to the side, we have an exhaust port here. Also a little reset button. And this is our tank that we looked at, and some more exhaust on the other side. And over here we got some foam just for packaging on both sides. And this whole front piece here is like a big bumper where if it runs into things, it's like a big switch, yeah, for confirmation that, you know, it's hit something. But I think this vacuum is a lot more sophisticated than that and has all these sensors here. It should be able to detect like socks and things and go around that without even touching them. So we'll definitely have to test that out. All right, so we unboxed the two main pieces. Let's go ahead and see what else we have here in this little box. All right, so it looks like we get two brushes. So one's an extra one and one we need to install in the vacuum. So we'll leave one in there. Here we have the user's guide, which is quite thick, but it does look like it has a few languages. Yeah, it does. Here are the 5 languages. So yeah, it looks like a pretty good manual that shows us where everything is and what it all does. So here we have an extra filter, and it looks like mop cloth. I'm guessing the mop is probably under here. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so here's our main piece for the mop, and that's going to attach to the vacuum and use the mop feature to mop the floor. So there looks like there's some kind of like Velcro style that the cloth attaches to, and there's also a little wheel here to help it roll. Let's go ahead and flip the vacuum back around, and we can install the little brush, and that should just clip right on. And the mop looks like it just clicks right here. Just slide in. There we go. So now we have the mop on here, and the release button is right here to release it. Okay, so there's a button on each side, so there's 2 buttons that you have to push to release the mop part. All right, so for the next part, let's grab our power wire, and it's actually quite thick, but it is quite long. Looks like about 5 feet or so. So we're gonna plug it in here, and the other end into the wall. So I'm going to click the power button underneath, and it looks like it did turn on. There's a little light that came on. Well, let's go ahead and see if we can't open this top. Okay, so this was actually, I think, magnetically connected. Let's see. Yeah, it is magnetic, so I had to just pull a little harder. So this open button here is just showing you to pull on this to open it. Rubber kind of material, so it has a really good seal. And inside there we can see we have the filter. So it looks like this piece here either popped off or we need to install. Let's see. Okay, yeah, it just popped off, I guess. It's like a really fine mesh filter, I guess, so nothing more goes through there. And on this side here, if you guys can see, is our intake port, which goes into the filter. And then the trash stays in the filter and the air gets out and exhausts out the side. So yeah, this bag looks pretty reasonably sized. And you know, depending on how much trash you have in your house, it should last quite a while. Alright, so let's go ahead and check out the quick start guide. So first step is to assemble the dust bin, which we did, we plugged it in. Next, we got to place it where there's some room around it, and they want about 1.5 feet all around the bin, and this is, you know, I guess it needs its own little area. Remove the protective strips, which we did from the vacuum there, so the bumper can work. Install the side brush, we've done that also. Download the app, which I already did, and if you haven't yet, go ahead and download an app called Neabot, and it is available on Apple and Android devices. Power on the vacuum by holding the power button. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I see some light. Wow, that's pretty bright light there. Okay, so I guess that means it's powered on. Alright, so it's playing music. For the next part, we need to charge it. So I don't know if we set it in there manually or maybe, let's go ahead and maybe click this charge button and see what it does.
Start recharging.
Okay, let's see if it can find itself where it's at. Okay, so it's spinning in the circle right now. I guess analyzing the area. Okay, yeah, it's totally not going where it needs to. Its charging bay is right here. I'm going to give it a minute here to see if it can figure it out. If not, I'm just going to manually stick it in there. It must not know where home is. Yeah, running away now slowly. It just keeps moving and then going in a circle. Well, let's just pause it.
Pause recharging.
And we'll carry it to the charger. And we'll just back it in there because if you guys remember, that's where our tabs are. So we're going to back it in there. See if we can line it up or not.
Charging.
Okay, there we go. and it's pulsing here, this light, indicating that it's charging. Yeah, hopefully now it knows where it's at. So for number 8 here, it says to enable distribution mode. I guess that means pairing mode maybe. And that's going to be clicking both of the power button and the home button or charging button at the same time. And if you guys notice, there's no remote that comes with this thing, so it is all going to be controlled from your phone. So let's go ahead and click these two and hold them for 3 seconds.
Wi-Fi has been reset.
So I got the app open, and actually we already have the older Neabot Nomo, which by the way is a great vacuum. And if you want to get, something more on a budget, you might want to check that one out. I do have a video review of that, so I'll link it here somewhere or at the end. Alright guys, so I think I've been doing this all wrong. I actually used the Neabot Home app, which was not correct. I needed to use the regular Neabot app. So I went ahead and registered, which is pretty simple. They send you a code, you type it in, and then make a password, and you're registered. So let's go ahead and add a vacuum. Okay, so here we have the different machines. Q11. I guess we'll do App Connect. Okay, the device is on. So we'll check that. Next step. Okay, we'll do the reset again by holding both of the buttons for 5 seconds.
Wi-Fi has been reset.
Next step. So we did hear the reset, but we're not flashing, which, let's get it out of the charger, maybe that's why. Let's try again here. Very weird, I can't get this thing to flash. Anyways, let's try again. Okay, so it does see it now. And then choose our Wi-Fi. Let's see if we can connect to it.
The device is connecting.
Okay, here we go, it's connecting. And there we go, you got the really quick flashing there. Okay, so it looks like it's working finally. And it failed, of course. Let's try to do it again, I guess. Hopefully it'll connect this. Alright, so I'm having no luck connecting with my phone. So I got the iPad here, downloaded the app, so let's see if we can do it. Get it going here at least. Okay, Q11 app. I'm telling you, these things just want all this permissions. Device is on. Go ahead and reset it again.
Wi-Fi has been reset.
Next, password. So this is the home Wi-Fi connection. Okay, so it looks like now it wants us connect to the Neabot, which this app didn't tell us to do that. There it is right there. Then we'll go back to the app.
The device is connecting.
Okay, so it's connecting now again. Confirm.
Network connected.
Okay, it connected. Wow, there it goes. So now it's showing up here on the iPad. Now I wonder, since we connected here, if my phone will automatically know that. And look at that, guys, it worked. So if you do have an iOS device, you might have better luck connecting like I did. I just could not connect with my phone, and it might have something to do with my phone itself. So yeah, this could, vary quite a bit, but thankfully we got it all working. So now we can go ahead and check out all the features. We can see that it's charging, and we have a 75% battery level at the moment. So if we click on it, here we should have a map, but we don't have one yet because it hasn't built it yet. So on the bottom here, we got a go button, charge button, battery remaining, minutes clean total, which is 0, and area clean. So yeah, it hasn't cleaned much, obviously. On the top here, we have hot buttons, room cleaning, total cleaning, zone cleaning, and spot cleaning. So I think what we need to do before we go through any of this is try to set zones and things like that. So we should probably let it charge all the way first. All right, guys, so we're at 90%, and I'm gonna go ahead and let it loose. So let's just click on total cleaning. And I guess that'll clean basically everything. Over here, we can control the amount of water, which I turned it off, and then the suction power, which is on a medium. So you can turn it off, low, medium, and high. So we'll keep it on medium. Click on go.
Start cleaning.
And there it goes. So yeah, let's see how this thing does. You can see that it's already got a bunch of stuff mapped. So the LiDAR on here is strong and goes really far. So it's gonna build out our map so we can actually use all of the features in the app. You can see where the robot is in real time, and the little green dot, it's charging dock. So yeah, so far this is what it's got. It's doing a really good job. So it's still using the bumper to ram into things, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so that time it didn't ran into that leg, so I guess it's trying to figure out basically what is what, I guess. So as you guys can see, it doesn't fall off the edge. You know what, guys, let's pause it.
Pause cleaning.
We'll take off this,
Quit mopping mode.
the mopper bracket off, because I think it's kind of in the way.
Continue cleaning.
Yep. So it's gonna give it a little more room there in the back to go over bumps and carpet and things like that. So, but yeah, so far so good. It has no problems with even navigating in this relatively thick carpet there. So it's like a medium pile, I would say. So it looks like it does see the dog. It didn't seem to want to hit him, so I'm not sure. We are going to do a lot more testing with just stuff in the way, like socks and cords and things like that, to see what, you know, it could see and what it can't. But yeah, guys, the low profile of this vacuum pretty much fits anywhere. You guys can see it still has plenty of room under this couch. So it looks like it's cleaning edges right now, so.
Start dust collecting. Dust collecting completed. Charging.
Alright, so now that the vacuum ran around the house, we can see the map that he built with its built-in lidars. And also, it looks like he kind of chopped the house in half with two zones, a yellow one and a blue one. So that's kind of interesting. Now, this area that you see here, you cannot go there because there's a step. And we don't really need it to go there anyways. So this is the area here that it cleans. And if we look down here, we can see the, I guess, square meters of 94 that was cleaned. So that's about how much it will clean every time or every cycle. Right now, it is fully charged, but when it was done, there was still plenty of battery left over. So you could probably easily do double this area here. And don't forget, guys, we did start at 90%. So yeah, it has plenty of battery life, you know, depending on how big the area that needs to be cleaned. So here on top, we got like hot buttons for quick cleaning. So you can click on room cleaning. So you can see here it's got room 1 and room 2. So it actually made the rooms for us automatically. We got total cleaning, which will clean everything. Zone cleaning, which we don't have any zones, so we're gonna set those up. Spot cleaning, so we can set this little marker here wherever we want on the map, and then click go, and the vacuum will go there and clean that area and then come back home. And so that's really cool. And you can obviously zoom in and zoom out into this map. And all those lines that you see in there is where the vacuum actually was. So it kind of gives you an idea what it had to go around. Here we had to go around a bunch of tables. Here we have the dining room with a bunch of chairs around the table, and you can kind of see the layout there. So yeah, it does cover really good where it can, and it's quite meticulous about making sure, and you can see the paths of how it travels. So, and the more it does this, the better it'll get at it. But this is his first pass, and it actually did pretty well for his first time going around and, you know, learning the area. So over here we have a bathroom, which didn't go in because the door was closed, but later it will be able to go into, which is kind of interesting that it actually saw it. So maybe the door was open part of the time, so it knew what was behind there. But over here we have the laundry room, and we definitely don't want it to go in there. So let's go ahead and add a no-go zone. So we're going to click on this button here. So you can see here it says adjust partition and set no-go zone. So we'll click on that. And you can see we have a couple choices. So here we have no vacuuming and then no mopping. Okay, so let's grab the zone here or click on it, and it's going to add it. And then just called it kitchen. Okay, so we forgot to name it. Okay, let's delete that. And we'll name it laundry. Okay, so you got to get the little square out first, and then you type in what you want it to be called. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so here we go. We got laundry. So let's go ahead and put it in that area so we can zoom in and we can tell the robot not to go in there. So we got to make sure we don't go on this side of the map, just in this area here. I guess we can make it a little smaller. So this is essentially going to block it from getting past into the laundry room. All right, so that's good. Let's go ahead and also set another one. So over here in the kitchen, this is the kitchen area. We have a little pantry here that sometimes the door's open. We get to close it, and the robot can actually ride in there and kind of get stuck. So we need to put a no-go zone there too. So I guess we'll just call it pantry, and it's literally in this corner right here. So if that door was open, it would be able to see inside, but right now it doesn't see anything. So yeah, we'll just leave it there. I think that's pretty accurate, and that should be good. I think, well, actually, hold on. No, there's one more room here, which is my office that I don't want the vacuum to go in. So let's add another one here and call it office. Same thing here. We just want to block the roadway so it doesn't enter it. And that should be good right there. Yeah, that's everything. And we're good here. So we can click on check. So now it's not going to go into those places where we, restricted it. So if you got like, maybe wires or fragile places you don't want the vacuum at, you just stick a no-go zone in there and won't go there. All right, so let's adjust partitions. So we can see here we got 2 of them. So let's repartition maybe. Okay, so actually when you click the repartition, it automatically makes its own little maps of what it thinks, which actually is quite accurate except for the part 2 here. 3 is very accurate, which is the dining room. 2 is the kitchen, which you didn't get most of it because it ends right here. And then this rest of the area is like entry room / whatever else, piano room, and the hallway. Just a huge empty spot, I guess. So I like what it's done on its own. So maybe let's try the split partition, and we'll choose this one and then cut it right here. Okay, so we just split it and it created a new one, which is 5. And by the way, 4 over here is just a random outside that it made. So all right, so now since I didn't figure out how to, color in my own areas, we'll just merge the 2 and the 5. Confirm. And there we go. Now we're going to have this area here as the kitchen. And if we play around with this thing, obviously we'll figure it out and even look at the manual, which we haven't, but the most important part is we do have zones. So now if we click on room cleaning, we can choose what room we want to clean. So if we want to just clean, let's say the kitchen, we'll click on number 5 since we're on room cleaning, and it'll just go and clean that area. Or maybe we want to clean both of them so we can check whatever we want. So yeah, room cleaning just gives you the option of cleaning any of these sections. You saw there you can split the sections up and make whatever parts of the house that you want to clean. So yeah, that's pretty intuitive there. So if we click on this little messaging thing here, you can see we can adjust the light and volume. So the light is on the vacuum and the volume is 90%. Then we got Find Robot. If you click that, it says I'm here. And by the way, guys, I've been clicking this button, not the notification. If you click the notification, that's the communications from the robot to you, I guess, whatever it's up to. So this is when I took the mop out and then when it completed the cleaning that we started earlier. So here we have a cleaning plan. So here you can schedule the time of the day and where and things like that, where you want it to clean. So this would be good if you have a routine and you want the robot to work at certain times of the day and do certain parts of the house, I guess, and things like that. So then we have do not disturb mode, and you can set where you don't want it to do anything. So, and then here we have more functions, which will take us to this pretty large menu. We got room management, and we've saw this already. Zone management. Okay, so I guess this was maybe what we were looking for, to manage zones. So here you can create new zones. We got reset map, which I'm not going to push because we don't need to do that. Share robot, so if you want somebody else to control it. Map management, not too sure what that's about. Firmware update, you can update the firmware. Looks like there's a new firmware up here. I guess we'll go ahead and update it. And the vacuum is talking that it's updating.
Restarting now. Please wait.
Okay, so the vacuum is restarting. You guys can probably hear it in the background.
Upgrade completed. Charging.
Okay, there it goes. So yeah, now our firmware is updated to the latest, greatest software. We got cleaning records. So this is how much the vacuum has worked. And we can see it's only been one time. And that was almost 2 hours that it ran. Let's see if there's more information here. And it actually shows you what it cleaned on that time. So very nice to see what it did if you wanted to see that. Component consumption. Okay, so these are things on the vacuum that you'll have to maintain eventually. So we got 99% on the filters, 99% on the side brush, and the main brush is 99%. So as you guys can see, it looks like about after 100 times of cleaning, we'd have to change these things here. So that's nice that it has a maintenance consumption. It'll probably remind you once you get depleted there. So robot information. This is everything about the robot and the Wi-Fi. Voice packet. So I guess this is different languages for the robot. And you guys can see all of the languages it can talk. So I actually do understand Russian. And that's what that is. Let's go ahead and change it to that and see if it actually uses the Russian language. That'll be kind of interesting. Okay, so it says voice is switched. Then we got dust collection management, and you can turn off the dust collection. So basically, if you don't want it to clean itself out after it's done, you can turn that off here. If you do turn that off, you'll have to, manually clean it out. Here we have remote control. So yeah, this could be useful if you want to run the robot manually with your phone. And you can adjust the amount of water volume and the suction power. And also you can send it to recharge. Yeah, this could be useful if you, wanted to clean a certain area yourself. And then down here we have the user guide, and here I guess you can read more about the robot and how to use it. And it looks like it's kind of the same manual that we got in the box. So All right, so yeah guys, that's pretty much everything. And then down there we have a big red button that says unpair robot, so if you want to completely unpair it from your phone, you can do that there. But yeah, that's pretty much the basics of this app, so hopefully that was somewhat helpful. So for the next part, maybe we should try a few things here like spot cleaning, and we'll send it to clean in the spot and see how it does. If you guys can see, it's right next to it basically. Click on go and see if it does its job. Okay, and the language did change, so, and it's a female voice in Russian. So yeah, it's gonna clean this area here. I guess technically we could have dropped some stuff in there. Maybe I'll put this little phone holder there and see how it does around it. So it should be about in the area it's gonna be cleaning. Oh, look at that, it stopped. It went around it. Wow, it sees it very well. Look at that. It actually knows something's there. That's pretty impressive. So it does come really close to it and kind of touch it here and there, but overall it stays, you know, clear of it. Okay, so it's done and it's going back to charge. And it looks like it is going to empty itself. And while it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead, put a few more things down and see how it does with these random objects here. So that little ball there is pretty soft. It's like a cotton ball. Then we got a infrared thermostat there and a little chewy toy from the dogs. Actually guys, I realized that we didn't even set zones yet. So we'll make a zone just for this area here that we want to clean, where all these little toys are. And we'll just call it test zone. Add it. Okay, so now we have a zone. So if we click on the zones, we can see we got just that one zone and it's check marked. So that's what it's going to clean. So let's go do that. So now it's doing the zone cleaning. Okay, so it did touch the chewy toy there. Alright, so it's doing really good around that cotton ball. We're all really good with the phone holder too. Well, it's kind of pushing on it right now, but yeah, so it will touch the items, looks like, depending on their shape and, you know, what they look like. But these general things here, it does see pretty well. I guess it doesn't see the laser too well. So, yeah, I mean, it did alright. It did move it around a bit. Alright, so yeah, it did pretty well there. And even though it did touch a few items, there wasn't anything crazy where it was pushing them around everywhere and didn't see them. So it did know where every item was. So that's great. Now I want to make it a little harder for it, which we're going to add some things like socks, a towel here, and a wire. A little nervous about the charging wire and the rag, but we'll see. Okay, so far so good. It does kind of go on it though. And it sees the socks very well. So I'm guessing, you know, depending on how flat something is, that will depend on how well it sees it. Okay, so yeah, it's pushing the socks around, so. Really nervous about what it's going to do with that wire, so maybe I should be ready to stop it just in case. Okay, so it seemed like it slowed down maybe for the wire a little bit. It's doing really good with that rag though. Yeah, it sees the rag pretty well, and the sock too. Even though it did push the sock when it was turning around. So. It's going around the laser now. So it does tap it, but it doesn't push it around really, so that's good. Really curious to see what it's going to do with that wire. Okay, it doesn't see the wire. Yeah. It kind of did, but it kind of doesn't either, so. Yeah, it didn't see the wire because that was the edge of the cleaning, and now it's grabbed it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause it before it chews it up. So yeah, it looks like, you know, with the wires not so good, but everything else very reasonable for sure. So it looks like you could kind of trust it with, you know, clothes and socks and things like that, not to chew it up, as long as, you know, they're not maybe completely flat or there's, you know, something to read off for those lidars. But as far as cables are concerned, it doesn't seem to really see them very well. So yeah, I would say it's definitely intelligent enough to do the basics and not, you know, just run over random stuff. But as far as more finer finesse things like wires, it's definitely not reliable with that, it looks like. Alright, so for the next part, let's grab the bucket here and we'll see what we sucked up. So yeah, looks like it looks like it sucked everything out, so there's practically nothing left. So yeah, it does a good job of vacuuming out the debris, and there is a little bit in there, I can feel it. So yeah, working very well. But what I want to do is use the mop next, so let's go ahead and put some water in here. So I'm just going to add some water from the faucet. Close that up, and maybe you guys, you can see the water in there. We'll put it back into the vacuum. We'll grab our cleaning mop attachment and put the cleaning cloth on. So it is Velcroed, you guys can see that. So these parts, they catch on the lips here. So they literally slide over, kind of like, that's what holds it down. And just like that, if that makes sense. And then we're going to stretch it over, and it's going to Velcro to the front side. A little hard to do with one hand, and it's really secure in there, and it's not going anywhere. So now we can install it into the vacuum. So we're just going to slide it under there and just click it in. Sorry for the language, I did change it. It's basically said the mop is in. So we can go ahead and clean with the mop. And if we go back to our app, it says our mop is turned on. So here we can control how much water comes out. So let's click medium. And I don't think we need suction power since we did clean here. So, but you can turn this on and off if you want. For now, we can just turn it off. So let's click on the cleaning zone here. So we'll clean the same little area, and we'll click on go. So it's gonna start cleaning. All right, and it should be mopping right now because it does have the mop on. And I can tell you guys, the floor is wet, so it is mopping, but it's not like wet, it's just moist. So it might be a little hard to see here, but it actually is mopping. Maybe we can get a reflection here somehow. Yeah, you guys can see that it's wet here and not wet here. So it is mopping, and it's doing a great job. Look at that. So yeah, this feature overall I think is great because to kind of maintain the floors, it is light mopping, but it does mop. So I went ahead and changed the suction to low. That way if there's any kind of dust, they can pick it up before, you know, it mops it. So it does look like we're gonna have to put no-go zones for the mopping unless you want your carpets mopped with a dirty mopper. And here on the no-go areas, you can click over here between carpet and mop to set up the rugs and carpets area where when it does mop, it's not going on them. So yeah, everything is adjustable and you can't set it up just right. You just have to do it. And everything is in the app, which is, you know, quite intuitive. Once you get into it, you can figure it out quite easy. So yeah, guys, overall, I'm really impressed with this vacuum. I think it's quite unique. Number one, the way it looks is just very futuristic and just nothing else. It is very low profile. You can see it doesn't go very tall. It is quite smart. The LiDAR system works really good. You saw, guys, there how well it went around objects. One thing it didn't do so well is with the cord, but that's a given. It's kind of, you know, something really small and thin. The vacuum itself is not very loud and actually on the quieter side. We didn't do any testing with picking up, you know, particles, but I know for a fact it's going to do just fine with regular things like cereal and just normal dirt and dust laying around. It will pick it up, especially if it continues to run day after day. You know, if it does miss something a little bit here and there, it's going to pick it up on the next day for sure. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about, you know, the performance of it. As you know, it is a robot vacuum and it is battery operated. You know, it's never going to be like a real full-size vacuum, but it's definitely going to maintain the home very nicely. And plus the Q11 here has the mop, which is also quite useful and very nice that it could keep your floors mopped or maintained, I guess, with the mopping feature. So I know this video is a little long. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, then hit that like button. If you want to pick up this vacuum for yourself, I'll have some links in the description. Check it out. Also, if you're more on a budget, check out the other Neabot vacuum we reviewed. It's an excellent vacuum. And if you guys enjoy videos like this, stay tuned for more. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.